The service that we're doing is very unique. Makeup is not makeup is not makeup. You could cook a dinner for your husband at home with, chicken and a side and, these particular elements, and it could be delicious and amazing and tasty. That does not mean that you are equipped to deliver that for 150 people. The elements are different. Even though the dish is the same, the makeup in the makeup could look the same. The logistics, the pressure, the timing, volume, what it takes to do 7 or 8 makeups in a row, perfectly on time, 40 or so minutes per service, with every person being happy while delivering customer service, never having an off day. It's not an option to be terrible. It's not an option to have an off day where people don't like what you're doing. It has to be great.
Hi, my name is Andrea, and besides of being recently married, I own the leading company in bouquet preservation in the world. It is when connecting with my clients that I felt the need to serve them and help them navigate this new and exciting journey. On this podcast, we bring you everything you need to know to plan the wedding of your dreams. We'll be featuring conversations with top wedding vendors and valuable tips and advice from real couples. Whether you're engaged or simply love, this podcast is for you. So sit back, relax, and let's get started on this journey to your perfect wedding day. Welcome to the club, to Bridal Club. Welcome to another episode of Bridal Club. I am thrilled to have the Queen of Bridal Beauty herself, Jen Trotter, owner and principal artist of Lip Service Makeup. Jen is not only a nationally recognized bridal beauty expert with over 25 years of experience, but aside of working with thousands of brides, their flawless work have been featured in commercials, television, and even on the season finale of Love is Blind. Today, we're talking about bridal beauty trends and wedding planning tips and what it's like to run a successful beauty business. Help me welcome Jen to this episode. Jen, welcome to Bridal Club. Thank you so much for doing this with me. For those who may not know who you are, tell us who you are. Tell us about your amazing experience in your business.
Hi, Andrea. Thanks so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here. I am Jen Trotter. I'm the owner of Lip Service Makeup, one of DFW's top bridal beauty teams. I'm celebrating 30 years in business next year. That is the main thing that I do. And then also I'm a speaker and an educator. I travel around the country. I speak at conferences and do keynote talks as a communications expert and a conflict resolution expert. I like to say I'm a chaos reducer and a conflict resolver. Those are the two things mainly that I do.
Wow. Okay. 30 years. I don't know why I kept thinking 25. You started your business when I was 3 years old.
I actually was an artist 6 years before that. I started doing weddings 30 years ago.
Okay. Well, you look amazing, by the way. I'm not even going to ask you how old you are. I'm just going to say that you look amazing.
I'll just say I was not 4 when I started. I was in my 20s.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So tell me how you started. And I really want to ask a few more questions regarding your experience, because I personally have not talked to somebody who has been in the wedding industry for that long. How did you get started?
It's a really funny story, probably a little bit atypical. I was always interested in makeup when I was a little kid, always played with makeup, would do makeup on everybody who would sit still long enough, my friends, my mom, my grandmas. So I was always interested in it from a very young age. And I could do a full face of makeup from the time I was about 8 or 9, but that was just for fun. I really never had dreams about doing it as a career. I had other dreams and other goals. I literally fell into it. I graduated high school. I turned 17 the week of graduation and went to college. And I started modeling in college, which I was not very good at. Modeling is a lot harder than it looks. It's not just being cute. There's a lot more to it. But that led me to a career as an on-air talent. And so not an actress, not model, but more of a presenter. Did marketing videos. I hosted an international monthly newsletter for Caltex Oil. I hosted a TV show called Dallas Music Videos. I just did a multitude of things within the entertainment industry as a personality and as a presenter, which I really enjoyed. It was a lot of fun. I had some really great experiences. I never really had like a burning desire to be famous, though. I'm a very practical, structured person. Glad that I had those fun experiences in the entertainment industry. But, even from a very young age, I was paying my own rent, paying my own bills, paying for college, and working full time and doing all this other stuff. It was a lot. And I was kind of ready to let go of going on auditions and booking things in the entertainment industry. One of the production companies I worked for reached out and said, "Hey, we want to book you on this commercial. We're going to Phoenix. We're shooting with Wyndham Hotels." And I was like, "Great, send me the script." And they're like, "Oh, no, we've got a bilingual actress for that. We want you as our makeup artist." What? I don't do that.
How did she even know that you could do the makeup?
I did my own on-camera makeup, which was great because it was easy and it saved them a ton of money. I always look camera ready and they just really loved my on-camera makeup. So I was like, "Oh, okay, sure." I mean, they know me really well. I wouldn't have done it if like a total stranger reached out and said, "Hey, we want to book." I would never have done that without the experience. But these are people I worked with all the time. So they were well aware that I did not have the background and still wanted to book me. I did it while we were on the shoot for Wyndham Hotels. I had time to chat with the producer and I was like, "Why did you offer this to me?" He goes, "Honestly," he goes, "I just love working with you. You're so hardworking. You're always on time. You're just so fun and pleasant, just easy to work with. Your on-camera makeup is great. I know you're going to bust your butt and figure it out." And he goes, "I don't necessarily have that experience with some of the other artists I've been hiring. I just really enjoy the vibe that you bring to set. And I know you're going to figure it out, do a good job." And funny because it's not sexy, but I always say that I got my start for being nice and normal and just being pleasant and easy to work with. That was 36 years ago. And I've been a professional makeup artist ever since. The first several years, I only did commercial work and I worked under more experienced artists while I got formal education, all of that. And then 30 years ago is when, those of you who are too young and don't realize it, people did not hire bridal beauty teams at a certain point in time. That wasn't a thing, didn't exist. Didn't matter how much money you had or how fancy you were, didn't exist. It was about roughly 30 years ago that people started to dip their toe into wanting to hire a bridal beauty pro and hire a team. And that's when I formed Lip Service Makeup and started turning my focus to weddings, which was a really great fit for me because I had a full-time job and then I did weddings on the weekends. I was able to kind of have the best of both worlds. I was able to have that structure and that paycheck and make sure that I could pay my bills and take care of everything and explore being a makeup artist. I did it for a long time like that. It was really fun.
Honestly, had no idea that you started this way. What an amazing story. It's kind of like us, right? We do flower preservation, but we specialize in bouquet preservation. And it's existed for a long, very long time, centuries, right? In the wedding industry, I feel like it's newer. So I do feel like we were one of the first to kind of like market it and really extend it to everyone. Having that said, though, right now the market is almost like oversaturated, I feel like. What
Yeah.
is it like from your experience being in the wedding industry for so long? How has it changed? Because I've only been in the wedding industry for about 6 years and technology has changed. The way we communicate with customers has changed. Generations obviously are different and they are expecting us to communicate via text now instead of course, like calling people and so on. From your perspective, how has that changed over the years?
I'm going to speak only for myself, as far as a bridal beauty expert, but things were really different. I felt for a long time like I was working on an island by myself. Although I was doing quite a few weddings, I was doing anywhere from 40 to 50 weddings a year for a long time. Really, my only interactions were with those brides. And then if I went to a venue and saw a planner or a venue owner, I would introduce myself and say hello, but I really was not part of the wedding community as a whole. A little bit of that was intentional. Honestly, I didn't realize how I could be part of the community as a whole.
Wow.
But also, I didn't really want more business. So I wasn't advertising. I wasn't seeking out building new relationships. I really wasn't doing that. I was working full time. I was doing the weddings on the side. And I really just was kind of humming along like that for a long time. When a bride would reach out, that process was really different. For a long time, people had a computer at work, but a lot of people didn't even have a computer at home. Websites existed, but they weren't necessarily a thing for everyone. So it was very analog. So someone would reach out, maybe from a referral or maybe from a planner. And if they wanted to meet me before booking, we would meet at a coffee shop or they would book an appointment for makeup. We would actually meet. I would show them a hard copy portfolio and they would write me a check to book. Just saying those words out loud blows my mind. Ever since the advent of everyone being on the computer and everyone looking at websites, social media, it's just changed the whole game. To me, I look at social media as a living, breathing portfolio. And I have people who will say, "I've been following you for 3 years. If my date's available, I'm ready to book." They've seen every wedding, every TV show. They've just really been getting to know me on their own time. We've been forming a relationship unbeknownst to me. And it's a really different process, but it's in a lot of ways, it's a lot easier. I've got all that social proof out there, thousands and thousands of images and articles and editorials. And there's so much stuff where I don't feel like I have to be like, "I know you know nothing about me, please book." And I'm a huge part of the wedding community as a whole, which we can talk about in a little bit.
Yes, that's something that I really actually want to talk to you about. Whenever I was listening to you speak, it really blew my mind. There's a couple things that I want to touch base on. One of them was the community. I was so booked. It was incredible. And I was serving mostly the entire country, and only like 10% of the actual orders were from Dallas. I was so busy booking online through Instagram, social media, that I didn't really have to make any relationships. But it wasn't until this year that my strategy kind of changed. And I was like, okay, I really, really want to start connecting with vendors here in Dallas, because we're more like after the fact. People get married and then they send their bouquet. I just really want to start forming these connections. I mean, community is key. Would you agree?
Oh my gosh. It's what I said in that panel discussion. The question that Andrea and I are talking about that I was asked in a panel discussion is, what is the number one thing that you've invested in your business? And I said, I've invested in networking and relationships. I think it is the most important thing. However, I want to touch on something, because every business has to market differently. Some people don't realize that. So they may look at their friend who owns a flower preservation company, and their friend that has a venue, and their friend who's a DJ. All of those marketing strategies are going to be wildly different for a number of reasons. If you're a venue, you're going to spend a lot of time, money, and effort on SEO and bringing clients in from the jump. People are going to be like Dallas Fort Worth venues. You're going to grab people at that very front part of the process. Whereas I spend no money on SEO. That's really not where most of my clients come from. I have good SEO because of all the stuff I've published and all the stuff that's out there. But my primary bride is not someone going Dallas makeup artist. Really working with more relational leads coming from the venues where we're on the preferred vendor list, planners, photographers, referral sources like advertising partners. It's coming more from warmer leads. The way you're going to market your business is really different depending on what you do. But for me, being part of the wedding community as a whole is huge. If I only just let people see the pretty hair and makeup, it wouldn't be very impactful, because the reality is there's a lot of people in DFW who can do nice makeup and nice hair. I mean, it's lucky for brides who live here. We have a lot of really skilled teams, and we have a lot of people who can do that. If you just try to rest on that, like, oh, that's good enough, you're going to get lost. By my estimation, this is just a guess, but I think there's about 600 hair and makeup teams in DFW.
You started when there was basically none.
Correct. There's only a handful of people that are still doing hair and makeup who were doing it when I first started. The relationship part piece of the puzzle is crucial. And with my business background, I'm a business person first and an artist second. I brought that into my business, and I think that was a game changer. I figured out very early on that I was not going to go after Susie Q Bride. I was going after referral sources. I wanted long-term sustainable relationships. I would much rather invest in getting to know a planner, that if we're a good fit for each other, if our clients are a good fit for one another, that planner may send me 6 weddings a year for 20 years. That's what I'm in for, is that long-term sustainability. And then you multiply it times, like, we're on a probably at least 100 preferred vendors list, if not more. Multiply that times all the venues and all the photographers and all the planners and all the people that I've invested in, that we've done favors for one another. We've bailed each other out. We've been there for each other, as part of a team, bride after bride after bride. Those organic relationships are so much more impactful.
Listening to you say that, it was an eye opener for me and my team, truthfully, because we really want to start growing the DFW market a lot more. Of course, it's great advice for any vendor, but for bride, obviously you serve a lot of people. How do you do it all?
Right now, we have 22 artists, stylists, and assistants. We don't plan on growing. We actually are at a very sweet spot. When we were talking previously, you'd asked me a question about scaling. It's important to know, to run your numbers and see how big you want to get, because I see some people rushing to really grow and be huge, and that's not always your sweet spot. For us, we're at a real sweet spot. In any given year, we do between 200 and 250 weddings, plus TV shows, editorials, and other stuff. And at this point, I can still manage it and deliver it in the way that I have built, the way that makes lip service special. If we get any bigger, I'm not going to be able to deliver it in the same way. And right now, I mean, this could change. I reserve the right to change my mind. But at this point in time, I'm really enjoying the sweet spot where we are. What that means is I have about 12 to 14 people who are with me pretty much every single weekend. They're out either with me, or I might have 2 or 3 teams out doing weddings. And then I have some other people that maybe are popping in during busy season, spring and summer, and then back in fall. It works pretty well for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you know what? Back to what you were saying, it is 100% easier to scale up than down. And I don't know if that's happened to you or not, but we were growing, 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 growing. And then, of course, now there's more competition. The pandemic happened. The pandemic was actually great for us. And I'm sure it was great for you too, because weddings from 2020 got moved to 2021. But
2022 was fantastic.
you have been around in the industry more to know that what goes up goes down. And I'm talking about the economy, and I did not know that. So I thought, oh my gosh, I'm just growing linear. We did a lot of decisions based on that, and we continue to grow and grow and grow. And then again, we have to scale back. Scaling back is not easy. It's really, really hard.
I have not had to scale back. I'm a slow mover, to be honest with you. To some people, it sounds really appealing to just boom and move fast and build fast. I am a Taurus. That is not my cup of tea. I tend to be more of a slow mover, which has been really successful for me. I'm not afraid of risk. I'm audacious and I'm pretty bold. But when I make decisions, I'll kind of make a smaller decision, see how that plays out. Okay, I'm going to build on that. Okay, I'm going to build on that. Okay, I'm going to build on that. As I do that, I kind of course correct. 2022 was really it. We maxed out. We had a couple of days where we were doing 7 weddings in one day. It was insane. I really looked at the year as a whole. I looked at my staff. I looked at the revenue. I looked at the numbers. I looked at what I'm comfortable with. It is very crucial to me to be able to deliver services in a particular way. And for me, that means that I'm pretty involved. That's not negotiable. I don't want to change that. I can't get bigger and I don't want to.
It makes total sense, right? So that did happen to us as well, 2022. And then we realized our quality has always been there, obviously, because once we are committed, we're committed the best that we can. It's also about finding the sweet spot for sure. For our brides listening, why would you say that people should be looking for when hiring an artist and choosing who to work with?
One thing I will tell you is what a lot of people think they're looking for is not the full picture. It is fantastic in this day and age that someone has a great social media. That's awesome. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. And that's fantastic. I do lip service social media. I try really hard to make it cute, make it engaging, to make it authentic and true to our brand. I definitely put some effort in there. But by the same token, you cannot hire a team just based on their cute girls in their team or fun TikToks. That's all wonderful. There's nothing wrong with that. But that's this much. And I'm holding up my fingers like little bitty. That is this much of the full picture. What is important for a wedding is to hire reputable, experienced people. Weddings are very unique. The service that we're doing is very unique. Makeup is not makeup is not makeup, meaning you could cook a dinner for your husband at home with, chicken and a side and, these particular elements, and it could be delicious and amazing and tasty. That does not mean that you are equipped to deliver that for 150 people. The elements are different. Even though the dish is the same, the makeup in the makeup could look the same, the logistics, the pressure, the timing, volume, what it takes to do 7 or 8 makeups in a row, perfectly on time, 40 or so minutes per service, with every person being happy while delivering customer service, never having an off day. It's not an option to be terrible. It's not an option to have an off day where people don't like what you're doing. It has to be great. And so that has elements that are completely different than other types of makeup artistry. It's really important that you don't hire Susie Q's friend who used to work at Sephora for 6 months. Doesn't mean that person may not have makeup skill or may not have an aesthetic eye or something. They totally could. If you have not worked weddings and you really don't understand all the other things I just said, it's not going to go well. And then the other part is, remember I said before, there's a lot of people in DFW that can do nice makeup and nice hair. There's a whole bunch of teams that can do nice makeup and nice hair because that is the reality. Well, then how else do you set yourself apart? For us, it's the experience. It's unmatched. We have so much experience. Almost everybody on my team, bulk of us have 15 plus years, with myself having 36. That means all skin tones, all face shapes, all eye shapes, all hair types, all hairstyles, all types of makeup. We've done it. We know that we can do it. Another thing that I do, remember when I said that I'm a speaker? and I teach, how to resolve conflict and reduce chaos. Oh, yes, I bring that into my business. I know how to communicate with my brides. I give them a lot of little insider tips and tricks. I'm super focused on how to make their day go super smoothly. You can't just focus on the hair and makeup. That's really only half of the issue. Obviously, you want to hire a team that matches your vibe and fits your personality, but you also want to work with people who truly care about you, are really invested. This is not the place for you if you don't like people. You cannot fake it through what we have to do. I mean, I'm practically sitting on top of you for many hours. I'm right up in your face. If you're not comfortable with me, if you don't like me, if you don't like my team, if you don't feel relaxed, you don't trust us, but we have to be a pleasant addition to your day. If we're not nice or awkward or cold or don't talk to you, it doesn't matter how great the hair and makeup is.
I
The hair
agree.
and makeup can be fantastic, but if we don't treat you well and focus on you and focus on your bridal party and focus on making sure that it's all smooth and easy, it's not going to be a good experience.
Yeah, that comes with experience and you can't replace experience. You guys are like the first vendor that the bride is going to be dealing with. So that tone needs to be set right. So I am glad you said that. Another thing that I want to mention is that I got married last year and I started joining all these Facebook groups, and in those groups, there are a lot of people complaining about how much makeup artists charge. And it blows my mind. You have no idea. Just like managing the business itself, that alone is super expensive. Pay plus travel and so on. So I'm so glad that you touch base on all of the experience and everything that you bring to the table for the brides.
I think that sometimes brides just pick their budget arbitrarily out of thin air. Maybe they're talking to their mom and getting prices from 20 years ago. Honestly, they're considering, oh, I got my makeup done at Mac for prom 10 years ago, and this is what it costs. I mean, those are not good reference markers for hiring a reputable and professional team. And I can tell you, because we're all friends, the top 10 or 15 teams in DFW, we all talk. Our pricing is honestly in line. It's not exact. Some of us charge more for this, some of us charge more for that, or whatever. I try to be as objective as I can and imagine I didn't do this for a living. Would I pony up what I charge for special events or just having my picture taken or something? I don't know. Maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't. But you bet your butt I would for my wedding. There's so many things that are happening. You're guaranteeing a smooth and easy day. You're guaranteeing you're going to look and feel great. What is the point in having the best photographer in town if you hate how you look?
One of the things that I've read a lot on those Facebook groups, they're complaining that bridal party makeup and hair is a lot less expensive than the bridal. Can you just give us some insight as to why? Because a lot of people have no idea.
The reason that the bride costs more is that there's a lot of back work that goes into working with the bride. Do you know how people will always say, like, oh, if they say it's a wedding, it just costs more arbitrarily? Absolutely not true. Could not be more false. If you call me up and you're like, hey, Jen, I need hair and makeup for headshots, that is maybe one quick phone call. I'll send you a quick little contract and invoice. I mean, the back work involved is pretty minimal for those type of appointments, even corporate gigs and commercial work. There's not a lot going on. But if you're a bride and your wedding is a year and a half away, do you know how many times I'm going to talk to you before the wedding, or your mom or the planner or all three of you? There is a lot of back work involved. There is a lot of hand holding and question answering, contracts and invoices and trials and bridals and logistics and timelines. And there's just a lot of back work involved. And so that extra cost needs to be built into the bride's price.
Mhm.
And then we try to make the bridal party price a little bit more affordable so that the bride is able to include everyone if she's going to pick up the tab, or to make it more affordable if she's going to have the girls chip in and contribute to that cost.
So let's talk a little bit about last minutes. I've been seeing in my industry a lot of last minute. I had my whole calendar booked for 2 years in advance. I would take last minutes and overbooking rarely, occasionally, but with added fees. Right now, I would say that about 50% of my brides are last minutes they literally book within a week from the wedding, either before the wedding or after the wedding. I heard you saying that you're seeing a lot of last minutes. Like makeup is something that you should book in advance because it's for the wedding day. So tell me more about your experience with that.
In any business, there's ebbs and flows. And in the wedding industry, ever since COVID, it's been the wild, wild west. You don't know what's coming around the corner. Prior to that, it was a lot more structured. There were fewer surprises. But ever since COVID, it is a little bit of the wild, wild west thing. We've seen things we've never seen before. We have several people that have book a year and a half to a year in advance. We love that. That's fan freaking tastic. They've been following us on Instagram for a long time. They just know for sure we're at the top of their list, or maybe hair and makeup is just really one of their priorities. It's super important to them. So those people are going to book first. They're going to book pretty early. Then the middle group, 6 to 10 months, they're going to get some of the bigger things out of the way, and then they're going to move to the middle range things like hair and makeup, DJ. They're going to move to some of those things, and then they're going to get us booked. The last minute people, where you're seeing that, those are people that as time gets away from them, they just don't realize, oh, I've got 4 months. What's the big deal? There's plenty of time. They don't realize we're already booked
Yeah.
up.
Is this a generational thing? Like, do you think it's gonna go back to what it was before?
It's hard to say because, again, I didn't see a lot of surprising things for many, many years. It was very structured for years and years and years. If someone really wanted us and put us at the top of their list, they would book a year to a year and a half in advance. Everybody else booked 6 to 9 months out. And then COVID turned everything on its ear. I'm prepared to kind of roll with the punches and just sort of pay attention. I mean, I just had a bride book for October, and that's next month. So, and also there's hinky things that happen. If you're watching those pages, you'll see that a lot of people are like, my team just canceled on me. I need a team. Help, help, help. And I'm here to tell you, if your team canceled on you, you did not hire the right team. That should not ever occur. There's no logical reason for that. It doesn't matter what were to happen. I mean, God forbid, like I broke my arm or something, we still wouldn't cancel on you. I would say, I'm so sorry. Someone else is going to be doing hair and makeup for you. Or, I mean, goodness gracious, I would go to one of my other friends that owns a team and be like, help a sister out. Like, come on, we've got to get this covered. That happens a lot, by the way. It happened 3 weekends in a row. We got calls that the bridal beauty team didn't show. My point is, even in the case of an emergency or illness, no one should be canceling on you. They
Yes,
should
I
still
agree.
get you covered. It's happening because those people are booking lower end vendors who are not charging very much.
Right.
They don't have minimums. So they're, maybe it's only a couple of people, and then they get a bigger wedding and then they'll cancel you. They're not super invested long term in this career. And maybe they want to take a vacation or they have a family wedding. And so they're like, yeah, I can't do it.
On our end, it happens a lot too. And the thing is that if they're solopreneurs and they get sick, they really do delay or they really do cancel. On our end, our customers will never know if any of our team members is sick, on vacation. It's going to be seamless. We don't want to stress them out. We're just going to take care of them because we're professionals and that's what we do. A few hot takes on business. I mean, we talked about a lot about business, but anything else that you would like to say before we go?
One of the things we mentioned previously that I wanted to pop in, because it does apply to both vendors and to our lovely brides, grooms, clients, mom, whoever that is who's listening. It is not mean to say no, and it is not mean to have boundaries. From a vendor's perspective, if a client is coming at me and they want to do something that I don't think is a good idea, it is not only not mean of me to push back and say, hey, let me guide you in a better direction. This is what I recommend instead. There's a lot of good ways you can put it. That is not only a good thing to do, it's what they're paying me for. If I don't do that, I'm not giving them their money's worth. It's my job, and I take it so seriously. Like, if you want, green eyeshadow and purple lipstick, I'm not just going to go, okay, and slap green eyeshadow and purple lipstick on you. I'm going to say, I think that a softer color, I'm going to try to talk you through it and steer you to something more flattering. At the end of the day, if you hear me and I have given you my thoughts and you're like, thank you, but I would still like the green eyeshadow and purple lipstick, well, then okay, then we can do that because that's what you're paying me for. But it is my job to guide you and collaborate with you and to bring you into this world that you don't know. Now, let's flip that around, what that means for clients. For clients, I think that weddings are a time when all of a sudden all the crazy, problematic people in your life can come out of the woodwork, and people have a lot of opinions and a lot of thoughts and a lot of feelings. And that can be so stressful for our, I'm going to say brides, because that's mainly who I'm talking to. I have had more than one bride come to tears in my chair just telling me something that's going on, or someone who's pushing, a mother-in-law or a maid of honor who used to be her best friend and their relationship is fracturing, or somebody who's just pushing really hard for something they want or something they want to have happen, and etc. I try to just be a friend to them in that moment and be a good resource for them. What I say to them is, this is your wedding. It is okay to say no. It's important to do that so that your wedding doesn't drive you crazy and people don't have you spinning in circles. A lot of ways to keep your boundaries and still be really kind.
What a great advice for, as you said, for both like our clients and as vendors. Thank you so much for saying that. I think the whole takeaway from this podcast is probably going to be that as a bride, it's hard to say no, but at the end of the day, it's your wedding. So thank you so much for saying that. The last thing I want to talk to you really quick about is your awards, Love is Blind, and all of that report. And where can people find you? Please tell us all the things.
We've got some pretty fun stuff that we've accomplished, and one of them is for people in DFW. If you've ever heard of an AACWP Vendi Award, it's best vendor in DFW. It's my favorite vendor. It's chosen by the planners, and it is a big deal. It's like the closest thing we have to the Oscars. Lip Service Makeup has won 5 in a row, and we just got inducted into the Hall of Fame in February. Then the Professional Wedding Guild also has the Worthy Awards. And we won the very first most worthy hair and makeup. We won the second one and we won the third one. We won 3 in a row. And now we've been inducted into the PWG Hall of Fame last year as well. So we're, we don't do it to win awards, but I mean, it's pretty fun to be recognized in that way by your peers. It's very exciting. You can see our work in all kinds of fun places, in editorials. I've done commercials for Tostitos. I've done marketing campaigns for Girl Scouts of America. I've worked with FedEx Office. Currently, I work for Dateline in 2020. Those of you who are into true crime, hit me up. I will tell you all about it. So I love working for Dateline in 2020. That is super fun. I have other people on my team working on other TV shows and things like that. We've done stuff on Oxygen and the Paramount Network. And we did do a season of Love is Blind for Netflix, which was super fun. If you watch Colleen and Matt's wedding in season 3, yes, you will see me on camera. You will see my ponytail swinging and you will know that is me.
I love it. Thank you so much for your time. And where can people find you, connect with you, and of course, hire you for their wedding?
Yes, you can find us everywhere at Lip Service Makeup. So we are Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. It's all Lip Service Makeup. And then, of course, lipservicemakeup.com. If you want to see all the most recent stuff, head to Instagram. That's where you're going to see all the most recent photo shoots and all the hair and all the makeup and all the good stuff. And then people can also connect with me at the Jen Trotter. You can find me on Instagram at the Jen Trotter. And if people want to book, head to our website, lipservicemakeup.com. On the contact page, there's a contact for general questions if you just want to get in touch. There's a contact form for brides to fill out that inquiry form. And there's a contact form for planners who want to send in an inquiry on their client's behalf.
Thank you so much for your time. I love this conversation and I can't wait to talk to you again.
Thanks so much for having me. I had so much fun.
Learn about all things wedding straight from the experts. Be sure to like and subscribe to Bridal Club.